Okay, so got it now. That I don't know how much time we took on that, but now we're just going to check our time here. 8 o'clock. Yeah, so I took an extra bit of time on the moon, but it was too interesting in terms of insight into the man and his works. Wow. Okay, so now we'll go to Mercury. I'm just going to work through these. Oh, we do Mercury and Venus, they're both together, so we'll take them kind of together here. So here we see Carl Jung's Mercury and Venus conjunct in Cancer, in the 6th house. So his Mercury and Venus is thinking and his evaluation. Mercury and Venus together is kind of pleasant in how one speaks and one expresses oneself. There's a charm or a pleasantness in that. Okay, now it's in Cancer. It's going to be about home and family and personal things. So when it comes to his moods, his feelings, his reflections, his security, he's going to be able to express his feelings nicely. He wants things to be, he's going to want them to be nicely. So that the moon, the Venus and the Mercury are in Cancer, ruled by the moon. That puts, it's still extending from the complex we're talking about, from the moon nature, but trying to express it beautifully, trying to think what's appreciative, what's not, what's beautiful, what's not. How one thinks is affected by his memories and his moods, the Cancer. My feelings, but how I get involved in things, how I get pulled into things. That's the Cancer. It's the beginning of darkness increasing. You can see, Cancers can see where his Mercury in Cancer, when the minute he would see something, as soon as he would say something, he would see how it's getting involved in others, how it's pulling him. He would see the roots of responsibilities, commitments that come into himself and to others. So that's his Mercury thinking like that, the daylight, darkness increasing, but daylight is greater. I can see this is moving into this is going to cause a commitment. This is going to require bigger commitments. That's the darkness increasing. And his sense of values of what he wants is tied up in the same way. Yeah, I want this. This would be nice, but it's going to require, I'm going to have to, if I want the home, I'm going to have to be related. I'm going to have to get things. I'm going to have security. So he's going to, his sense of security, which we already see is sort of poignantly there, very alive and vibrant, but also very threatened and challenged, and easily intolerant to things that aren't fair or things that aren't right. But here, his Mercury and Venus are working to, Venus always seduces the mind. I want this, so how do we get what I want? I want that. I want to live in a certain way. I want to, in the Cancer, it wants to, values that want to be, think about what I liked, what I didn't like, what was family, what was mom, what was home. All the Cancer associations need to be ruled by the moon. And it's in the 6th house, so his ability to, here there's the ability to be critical and self-critical, or try, like the 6th house is where you the whole setting side of your chart sets. It gets, you take things in this, at this, how you react to other people personally is on the descendant. It's not how you function is above the horizon, but as you take personally, how you react personally is on the descendant, and to want to make things nicer or want to be expressed, to respond with expressing value, expressing what's valuable and what's not, and interpreting what's valuable and what's not in the relationships that come his way. That's his process. He would be able to evaluate the values of relationship, the input coming, the effects he is getting from people. He would take in and be able to evaluate in his own ideas, in his own personal world. It would be his manner of response. You might not see it, but he's personally responding to what was good or what wasn't good, what was valuable, what was not, what is nice, what's not. He's responding to that. So when it's positive, when he's getting positive feedback, it would get him to communicate. He would be able to, it would tie into his moon, it would tie into, especially, he'd be working to write and be able to express himself nicely. So his ability to express himself and have skills that allow him to express his values on a personal level in response to people. Wow, there's the part of the counsel and advice, not in the 7th house, but it's the ability to respond to, take things in and then respond personally to it, because it's below the horizon. It's responding personally, not objectively. This whole thing has been about his personal values, his personal needs, his ability to express himself personally on a personal level, not so much in terms of outside but in terms of the style that one needs to be loved and beautiful and lived and appreciated. In the sixth house, it puts it towards the work, service, but really of responding to others and being able to respond and intellectually and with values to evaluate the response that's coming from people. One, to get paid for what you're doing. Two, to be able to have good things to say to make people improve their self-worth. Wow, that's a nice use of that Mercury Venus. Whenever his self-worth would be challenged, it would be a tremendously big challenge, but he normally is processing that as one of his strong factors. Now that the Mercury, the aspects differentiate here because Mercury has the sextile to the moon, but it's as a 45-degree aspect. We're not really using them at this level as a stress factor to Pluto. There's a 135-degree, that's a square and a half to Saturn, so we're not really using those in this level. There's 135 to mid, but really it's the main thing is its conjunction to Venus and the sextile to the moon. That's the Mercury, not really afflicted. It is by minor aspects, but not by the main ones. The Venus, on the other hand, has one difficult aspect, the square to Jupiter in the 8th house. So Jupiter is in the 8th house, it's the abundance of wanting to make money, wanting to share through other people's resources, wanting to benefit. It's lucky through inheritances, through marriage, through working with others. So it's having a social conscience and benefiting from it. So here, his understanding, getting a PhD, his understanding would open up doorways of positions he could get where he's valued, he's doing something socially meaningful. But this Jupiter is squaring his Venus. So the puzzle of when I don't have enough, it would be exaggerated. His values would be exaggerated. Either I have to have this, and if I got this, I got to have more. I got to have the best of this, the overindulgence side of it. But the other side is when I don't have what I want, having to struggle to understand it's no fair. How come I don't have what I want? How come this isn't happening? So he's having a stressful relationship, doing his understanding of how people relate and share and how society works on the trust in the world. This is it, understanding the trust between others in the world and what is valuable and what's not. So is the world, not everybody's trustworthy. And his understanding is what's valuable, what do I really want against that background. So there's a struggle with Jupiter, a tendency to exaggerate what he likes and what he doesn't like, what he values, what he doesn't value, but that there's stress involved with, so he could spend money too much. He could over-exaggerate, really like someone too much, or want to respond too much, or want to give too much to respond too much to others. But at the same time, he could be responding too much when it comes negative. He could be affected by other people so strongly, it would bother him and he would take these things in personally. He would have to struggle to not be upset by some idiot or some wrong or vulgar or coarse person trying to consult with him. So there would be people he would want to deal with. There would be people he wouldn't want to deal with. He had a strong personal sense of style of who he could work with and who he couldn't. Okay, now I don't know how that played out, but certainly the continuous struggle of what's satisfying, what's too much satisfaction, what's too little, what's too much discontent, and what's too little, what's too much repulsion, what's too much hate or repulsion. So he's working his Venus in trying to understand and transform things. He's taking in the problems of others, taking the person as if they were relating to him, and trying to struggle to figure that out. It's an interesting puzzle. This comes along, we'll see this more even when we come to some, but there's questions between how he responds and what he can do and what options are around him in the world. He certainly needs good feedback. He's not going to be able to deal with negative feedback. Whoa, this is a polarized setup for a marriage or for a relationship. He's got to be treated nicely. Someone's got to idealize him or treat him really, back him up, or he's not going to be very consistently there. So he couldn't put up with coarseness or grossness or like has a strong repulsive factor from the Venus that could be, when negative, could be overreacted. When he had worries about money, they would get magnified. What can he do? What would he have to do? So some of the seeds of his understanding. Okay. Go to the sun. Just the sun aspect. So when we look at the sun, he's Leo, sun in Leo, in the 7th house of relationships. So you have the personal psychologist creating his own type of psychology that other people relate to, and everyone will be coming to him to learn the Jungian approach. Sun in the sun. So he needed other people to relate to him and applaud him and ennoble him. Okay, but also in terms of the path of his relationships, once he got his degree and it was established, once his moon and his foundation was secure, he married. And he married successfully, a well-off person, and he had his kids, and he was basically taken care of no matter what he did. He didn't have to worry about his rent or his home situation. So he was taking care of all of his time, any time to write, any time to travel, to do things. He was always buffered by his wife, who was in support of him. But if she ever got anyone who ever get negative or darkness around him, he would be so sensitive to that in a second and try and control things, how it would be. So when he would be good, he would be really, really good and nice to people. When he would pull away, he would get really distant and could ignore someone. Okay, so with his sun in Leo in the 7th house, it's also square the Jupiter. It's opposing the ascendant and it squares the Neptune. So really being in the 7th house is naturally, it's conjunct the descendant. That's enough, but it's not his identities are so strong. It's his relationships that are a strong issue. That's the sun in the 7th house. How am I responding to other people? It's important how he responds to other people, the feedback he gets. He's going to give importance to the feedback he gets. He wants to be applauded or acknowledged or ennobled by the feedback he's get. That's the setting chart with the sun right on the descendant. You don't just, let's see, 3 degrees, 1 degree, 1.5 degrees, 1.5 degrees, 6 minutes before sunset. So you could see the ball of the sun just coming down, and in about 30 seconds, it would just start, the ball would start to touch the earth before it was going down. That was the time when he was born. But